In the summer of 331 BC, King Alexander of Macedon crossed the Euphrates River with a large army and marched into the heartland of the Achaemenid Empire. Captured Persian scouts reported to the Macedonians that Darius had arrived and was encamped across the Tigris River, near a small village known as Gaugamela. Once Darius had arrived at Gaugamela, he ordered his men to begin clearing out a large section of land, in which was to be the battlefield. In light of the ground-flattening efforts taking place at Gaugamela, Alexander determined that Darius did not intend to change locations, and allowed his men a few days to rest before engaging Darius's army in battle. Once fully rested and well-fed, Alexander marched his army onto the battlefield. Darius formed up his army to meet Alexander's. His force was estimated to be at least twice the size of Alexander's. Darius's army was made up of a variety of different soldiers from across his vast empire, ranging from Armenia all the way to Bactria. Commanding the Persian left flank was Darius's commander Bessus. Bessus commanded a large cavalry force of a few thousand warriors. Commanding the Persian right flank was Mazaeus. He also commanded a large cavalry force of many thousands of different warriors from the lands of Parthia, Scythia, and Syria. At the center was Darius himself, commanding tens of thousands of soldiers from across his empire. The center consisted of infantry, missile troops, scythed chariots, and even some Greek mercenaries. The Macedonians formed into battle formation, with Alexander himself leading a large contingent of companion cavalry, skirmishers and light infantry on the Macedonian right flank. Alexander's trusted general, Parmenion, commanded the Macedonian left flank. It was made up entirely of Thessalian and allied Greek cavalry. The Macedonian center consisted of the renowned Phalangite Sarissa pikemen, the backbone of Alexander's army throughout his eastern campaign. Greek mercenary hoplites were stationed on the flank and rear, with Thracian skirmishes also in support. It was estimated that Alexander's force was roughly 35 to 40,000 in strength, whilst Darius's force was estimated to be 80 to 100,000 in strength. The battle commenced as Alexander led his right wing forward, looking to outflank the Persian lines. In response, Bessus led his cavalry in line with Alexander's movements. Bessus did not want to stray too far from the main force. He moved his force inward and toward Alexander's. This action by Bessus was exactly what Alexander had wanted. He led his force inward to meet Bessus's head-on. While the battle for the right flank was underway, Darius had ordered his right flank, commanded by Mazaeus, to advance on the Macedon left flank, where Parmenion's force was much fewer in numbers. With the flanks tied down, Darius then ordered his scythed war chariots to advance on the Macedonian center.
Position! Move forward! Halt!
As the chariots came closing in on the Macedon center, the Phalangites moved backwards, opening passages in their ranks, which they used to trap the chariots and quickly render them useless. With the chariots removed from the battle, the Macedon center marched forward toward Darius's main line. To counter this advance, Darius then ordered the right side of the Persian center to advance forward towards the Macedon left center. Upon their advance forward, the slow-moving Macedon Phalangites were easy targets for Persian archers and found themselves under immense arrow fire. With the Macedonian left center now fully engaged, the right side advanced forward toward Darius's remaining Persian force. In similar fashion, the Macedonian phalangites were under immense fire from Persian archers as they slowly advanced forward. As their shields were relatively small and they could not break their formation, the phalangites sustained a number of casualties in the process. Whilst the entirety of the Persian lines were now engaged with the Macedonians, Alexander knew it was now time to unravel his plan and strike. He gathered as many of his men as he could spare and quickly charged toward the now exposed Persian center, where Darius himself was stationed. The Persian center was taking heavy casualties and was being slowly pushed inward, particularly the left side, which Alexander had struck with his cavalry. It soon crumbled under the pressure. Witnessing this and not wanting to risk being captured, Darius himself fled the battlefield. Seeing their king fleeing, most of his Persian infantry in the center followed close behind. Witnessing the Persian center's complete collapse and not wanting to get encircled, the Persian general Bessus and his cavalry on the left flank began retreating. Although deeper on the Persian right flank, the Persian commander Mazaeus and his force were oblivious to what was happening, completely unaware that his king and most of the army had fled the battlefield. His own force was defeating the Macedon left and on the verge of victory. At this moment, Alexander was informed that his left flank, commanded by Parmenion, was surrounded and on the verge of being destroyed, although Alexander had wanted to pursue and capture Darius. He instantly made the decision to come to Parmenion's aid. He quickly gathered as many available cavalry as he could and rode out. Alexander's companion cavalry swiftly rode to Parmenion's aid. They came smashing into the rear and flanks of Mazaeus' force. The sheer shock and chaos of the charge was enough to get most of the Persian cavalry to disengage, eventually breaking their morale and sending them retreating from the battlefield. It was reported that the Persians had lost roughly 40,000, either killed or captured, whilst the Macedonians had lost roughly 1,500 men or so. These were of course estimates and cannot be fully relied upon.